Welcome back to the Finnish Legacy Nationals of 2024. I'm Antto Kaipana, with me here is Roope Metsä. How are we doing on the third round of the event?
Uh, well, we're doing good, and now we have our stream running consistently. So we are here. We have Band Nadu versus which one is our other deck? It's the
Javelin
combos.
Yes.
It's an exciting match with two combo decks.
I'm very much looking forward to it, and we can go straight to the games. Let's put our players live here as well. So on the left side we have Tuomas Myllykoski with Band Nadu, and on the right side we have Eetu Lehtonen with Javelin combo. How are you feeling about the matchup?
Well, it's gonna be a pretty much a race between the two decks. I feel like the Nadu deck for sure has a little bit of interaction for the Jurand combo, but the Jurand one might be a little limited on the interaction. But here we have Vexing Bauble on the play, so that interaction flies out the window, so to speak.
There is a chance with the fairies, of course, and Bosé Juice to get rid of the bubble. There's a lot of possible ways for the Nadu deck to actually operate through all the hates. But we'll see how it will go eventually.
Yeah, with the One Ring in play, it's not looking great for the Nadu deck.
To be fair, the game is still at the very early stages, so a lot of things can happen.
Yeah, for sure. So
the burden is becoming a thing for Eetu with the ring.
Yeah. Interesting that the Nadu deck left 3 mana open. Wonder what the options are.
Yeah, I don't remember them being that many different flash creatures at the moment.
Yeah, I believe there's not many in the deck, and well, endurance not being relevant one.
And Javelin loads its table already.
Yeah, so for the viewers that don't know, the Jurand combo deck operates playing the Jurand Lotus, then drawing cards and tapping the Lotus for 3 mana and copying it with the Phyrexian Metamorph over and over again.
Oh, we have Transmute Artifact.
That's interesting.
So it's going to sacrifice the Javelin Lotus. No, it's Copy Artifact, not Transmute Artifact.
Yeah,
oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Alright.
Now we're
Phyrexian Metamorph doing the same again.
Drawing a lot of cards here.
Yeah, this is looking very bad for the Nadu deck. Very interesting turn of events here. Have you seen Javelin combo online before yet?
I have, but it's not something you definitely see every day. It's like, well, it used to be like when the card came out, it had like some popularity, but I think now it's considered a little bit less consistent than the other combo decks of the format, and with the Stompy decks being so popular, it can be a little bit difficult to resolve your 6 mana artifacts.
Absolutely. To be fair, then we have also different Tron lands which help out with the new lands that have all the types.
Yeah.
So Eetu here has resolved Transmute Artifact, this time actually Transmute Artifact, sacrificing one of the Javelin Lotuses that he had on play, the original one, and he's getting in a Paradox Engine, which does mean that there's going to be lots of mana and card draws.
Yeah, it's gonna be effectively infinite mana and infinite card draw with the One Ring untapping, and the Lotus is producing mana, so here we have the win basically. Let's see, can we see what the deck wins with?
Alright, we have the deck list open
So
for...
there's an Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, which obviously gives another turn and hits for 15.
Yeah, that amount of mana sounds very easy for
Yeah.
Eetu to get. And especially at this stage of the game, it should be very trivial to get the second round of driving.
Yeah, with the One Ring drawing increasing amounts of cards, it's...
And there's already the Emrakul. Yeah.
And here we have gathering of some cards coming up with the Emrakul going on the stack.
Alright, so we will be going to the second round. Second game of the round 3. How are you feeling about the sideboards that they have?
So
So what would Eetu be bringing in on this side with the combo deck?
well, defense grid is something that is definitely interesting. It's probably something you want in with the force being main interaction from the Nadu side. Dismember seems like very much a no-brainer to bring in with, because you just need to get rid of the Nadu somehow. Vexing Bauble is something you can consider. Not really sure what you want to what you generally cut with the Chuang deck, but see something like Relic of Soran seems like something you can cut and sink in the stupor. Maybe you feel like you have more than enough mana and the interaction side is not that great in the matchup. But yeah, definitely interesting to see what he brings in.
Absolutely. And then for Tuomas, with the band Nadu, here we have it. On Tuomas' sideboard we have Hydroblasts, Consign to Memories, Fairy Macabros, Veil of Samuros, Force of Negation, Deafening Silences, Path to Exile, and Collector Oof.
Wow.
So Oof is coming in for sure.
Yeah, and the Deafening Silences are coming also. Although it's not always the best, because Phyrexian Metamorph is a creature spell when you cast it, so you can still cast Chuang and a bunch of metamorphs after, but I think it's still strong enough for sure, and Force of Negation and Consign to Memories are good counter spells for the matchup, and well, again, Keen Knight Curator is something you definitely don't want after the sideboard, and Sylvan Safekeeper seems like another card that you can easily cut, and the Swords to Plowshares are the removal spells, well, not really that great against a deck that plays only non-creature artifacts pretty much.
Basically. Alright, since we have a judge call, I will go out there help the players.
Yeah, the judge call will be resolved shortly, and we should be getting back to action as soon as possible. It is a nice matchup to have. Like, the Truant combo is definitely not something you see every day, so it's cool to have that kind of deck being in the third round of the feature match. Looks like the judge call is probably resolved now as the players draw their opening hands. Although we do have a backup feature match as well, which could be the judge call happening there. Now with the game starting, we have my partner coming back as soon as he gets his microphone on.
Yeah, there was classic clock app issues that we have at the moment here, but small technical issues which we sorted right away. Seems like both players kept a 7.
Yeah. So Tuomas played a fetch and then passed, and Eetu played Ursus Saga and Lotus Petang and passing the turn, and now we have the Surveillant coming down in the end step.
Surveillance are making obviously very big waves everywhere they go.
Yeah, they're such a fun design. I really love them.
Yeah.
Just
I've been playing Modern lately, and I haven't had time to actually improve the deck to Modern standards. So, as in adding a couple of Surveillance, it feels so bad every time my opponents fetch, get a Surveillant, and I'm like, I cannot do that.
yeah, yeah, that's something. Definitely when they came out and I was testing my decks and I forgot to add them like every once in a while, and then I'm just, where's my Surveillant? No.
I feel like we have an encore on the table.
Yeah, there's a consign and a force in hand for Tuomas, so definitely prepared for whatever is coming from Eetu's side here.
Eetu instead feels a little bit like he's going for Saga plans, but he's actually casting spells. That's a Grim Monolith coming down from Eetu.
Yeah, feels like you don't want to counter this from the Tuomas perspective, and you want to save your mana for the or counter spells for the Chuans actually.
There is a point in countering whatever comes down, as in next turn there will be Vexing Bubble in play if Eetu wants it to be there.
Yeah,
So
but with the consign being the interaction spell of choice, it's
yeah,
not gonna be affected by it. Looks like did resolve, and now we have
that is a copy artifact. I wonder what is it really going to be copying Grim Monolith? Feels like it. Couple of extra manas for Eetu. That is 4 mana.
one ring with one floating.
Yes.
So
For this, Tuomas needs to respond for sure.
Yeah. So looks like they wanted to play on days by making the copy artifact producing one more mana.
I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
It is a ritual per se.
Yeah. Not every Nadu deck does play days, so it's something that definitely has a cost.
Yes.
And now
Basically two Grim Monoliths are out of play for Eetu. Oh, and that's the Nadu.
yeah.
Alright, so now we are getting to the fun part of the game.
Yeah.
So, Tuomas, having played the deck for quite a while, is quite fast with operating the deck. Let's see, do we whiff? Per
Yeah.
se? We kind of do.
We kind of do, but we drew
Lots of very good
yeah,
cards.
there's another consign which is huge because unlike the modern Nando deck, the Legacy Nando deck can also do the same things on the opposing player's turn. So now we have some more card draw in the upkeep, and if the Tuomas hits a land,
Yes,
that they
that's the
do,
land.
now it's gonna be really tough to beat the force and the consign.
This is my first time seeing the Nadu deck live on Legacy, and that already was such a powerful thing. Even if it
Yeah.
whiffed, so to say, my god.
Yeah, the Nadu deck does differ from the modern one, where the modern one, when it went off, it usually like ends the game, while the Legacy version usually just draws a bunch of cards and some mana, because there is not none to cost that basically make the deck go infinite, so it does have a limited ways of generating bodies, and but obviously drawing 4 cards and then drawing another 4, it's an insane 2-card combo.
And especially next turn he will be drawing 12 cards, then it's gonna be even more. Alright, Tuomas responding to the Saga trigger, 3rd chapter, which would be getting an artifact with mana cost of 0 or 1 from the deck. I think it's gonna be it's gonna
Yeah, I
get
think-
consigned.
No, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you don't want the Vexing Bubble on the battlefield or whatever else there might be
It
coming.
makes sense with the Force of Will in hand for sure.
Right, Eetu playing Stupor into a land, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sink into Stupor.
With 2 mana, sink into Stupor.
Yeah.
Is it only a 2 mana spell?
No, it is a 3-mana spell, but Urza's Saga was floating a mana.
That is very true, yes. And Nadu is back to hand, which gives Eetu some breather room, because Tuomas now needs to use 3 mana to cast it back again.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a lot of cards still for Tuomas.
Yeah, definitely not an easy position for Eetu to be in at this point.
Yeah. Even a fetch land who can get the Triad Arbor too. Okay, so it looks like we have
Brainstorm set up.
Brainstorm and set up some lands on top to generate some easy mana that way. And looks like Eetu has had enough of this bird life.
I think that's a smart choice. Now it's after setting up with the Brainstorm, it is basically free cards that they are getting for sure. And Tuomas knows what cards the first 2 will be. It's such an insane value tempo at that point.
Yeah, the Brainstorm is really interesting in the deck. With usually the problem being that you don't hit the land drops from the top when you cast a Nadu, but with Brainstorm you can obviously force the issue, so to speak,
Yeah,
if you have the lands in hand already.
absolutely. So we're going for the 3rd game, and Jevil combo is now going first. How much does that improve the matchup?
It does improve quite a bit. I think that turn 2 to turn 3 is like the window in which both decks operate in, and having the window, like for example the Chuan deck playing like Vexing Bubble turn 1, and then the Nano deck has to decide whether to counter that one, and then if the next play is One Ring, then it might be big trouble for the Nadu deck. And obviously with the consigns you have to make a choice between playing your Mana Dork and leaving the consign up, which is much easier on the play, as we saw there.
That is very much true. Right. Both players thinking about their hands at the moment. Eetu feeling perhaps a little bit more relaxed, having his hands on the table.
Yes.
Both players I've seen among the years I've been playing Magic have been on the scene for a long time, playing Legacy, Modern, Standard, even at different times, Pioneer, all the formats. So they are quite seasoned veterans of the game, for sure.
Yes, looks like it is gonna be a mulligan for both sides.
All right. I think mulliganing is a little bit better for Nadu deck. Yes, I feel like it needs less things to operate. Even though the when it goes off, it draws a lot of cards right away as well.
Yes.
But I feel like the Nadu deck, because it has a little bit better interaction, is better on mulliganing.
It is kind of a double-edged sword in the sense that it is tough to have both the combo pieces and the interaction when you mulligan, especially if the interaction happens to be a force which costs 2 cards. While the Truant combo, for example, 2 Ancient Tombs and Bauble and 1 Ring, that's 4 cards. That is an insane opener. It's not always that simple, but I think generally speaking it does favor the Nadu deck.
Right. Players drawing their 6. Several cards which will be mulliganed to 6 for sure. Looking at Eetu's hand, we can see that there's 2 boards. There was one ring in there as well.
Yeah,
At
looks
least.
to be a keep
Looks
for both sides.
Yeah. Tuomas has a good mix of all kinds of spells in there.
Again, the Consign and the Force of Well-Being.
Alright, going with Asian 2 with Eetu.
Yes.
He's going to be Grim Monolith. Yes.
Yes.
So next turn Eetu has 6 mana available.
Yes. So no force there. Looking the force, the big spell, the heavy hitter.
Which sounds very reasonable, for
Yeah,
sure.
but it is also risky with the Vexing Bauble can be. Sometimes you want to lead with the mana, so you can play Vexing Bauble next turn, kind of force the action. But no, we have just the 1 ring.
Tuomas has a couple of different options in there, but I think Consign the Memory was the only. Like, there was Force of Will and Consign the Memory, so Force of Willing there would have been perhaps the worst play.
And looks like Consign was also the only blue card, so
Yes.
rather spend 1 card than both of them.
Alright, now Eetu's down a couple of extra manas as well, playing a second land from the stupor.
Oh, looks like there's a Nadu in hand.
I think I saw Green Sun Zenith there as well for Tuomas. That's a survey land.
Yeah, that's the not so optimal way of playing the survey lands when you draw them in your opening hand.
It's still a fine land to play for sure, but yeah, it feels much better when you can choose the big enough with the fetch. And passing turn, going back to Eetu. Eetu plays a Tron land, getting 4 mana to the mana pool, and casting a One Ring.
No,
That was the fastest Force of Will in the West.
yes, for sure, but it did come with the cost of having to pitch the Nadu there, and I
Absolutely.
believe is that a Veil of Summer in Tuomas's hand?
I've seen Green Sun Zenith in there.
Yes, Green Sun Zenith is for sure in there.
Let's see what Tuomas is going for. I didn't see any other green cards there.
There is another green card, but not sure what that is. Looks to be a Zenith for you and for the collector.
Which makes a lot of sense for sure.
Yeah, not sure. Eetu is probably thinking of the namesake card and thinking oof in his mind, but
I wonder if Eetu has the dismembers in the deck from the sideboard. He should have for sure.
yeah.
Because he has that. He has the others stupor into vapors, or vapor into stupors.
Yeah, but with the double blue is not very easy to generate with the deck, especially when your artifacts don't work.
Well, there's the single blue.
Yeah. Obviously, you can play the stupors to generate the blue mana.
That is gonna take a while for it to actually get there, for sure. Seems like the game's now favoring Tuomas, the Nadu deck, quite a lot. Getting some damage in there as well.
Yeah. The big time beats. The players forgetting to use the tablet, so now we have the live totals updated, which is great. So 6 more turns of hoof beats and that might be it at that point,
That would be enough.
but obviously that's a lot of turns to draw an interaction spell.
And there's a Hedgemate, second survey land for Nadu deck. End of Eetu's turn if I'm not wrong. Not knowing what Tuomas has in his hand, it's very hard to say how commanding the position actually is at the moment, but it looks very much in favor for Nadu at this point.
Yeah, I do believe I saw the Veil of Summer, which is interesting to bring in.
It
Yes.
does protect all the cards,
Yeah,
for sure.
it does protect from both Dismember and Sink. In fact, so it's something that Tuomas has experience in and feels like it is a consistent game plan to try to send it the wolf and then just protect it with all the interaction.
Absolutely. Tuomas on his turn played Brainstorm, looked a little bit of cards around. I saw a Force of Will there at least.
Yeah, Tuomas's hand is Force of Will, Consign and Veil of Summer, I believe, at this point. With
And Eetu is going to cast a spell here. It's the Phyrexian Metamorph. I wonder what he wants to copy with that.
well, it probably it's kind of awkward copying the wolf because are you gonna get rid of 2 wolves once the beat stops? So,
Yeah,
but
it's not the worst to actually keep the table down a little bit, since it looks like Tuomas doesn't have that much things happening outside of the Oof. But man, must it feel bad to have Oof on the table with the combo deck.
yeah, I'm just gonna play my opponent's hate card in the.
That's a
It
green.
it is an wolf.
It is an Oof. A main deck Oof for Eetu here.
Yeah. Now with the Nadu coming in play, the blocker doesn't even help here, so it's
Perhaps it was one turn too early for Eetu to play.
yeah, it is gonna be really difficult to do much.
Alright, so this is transmute artifacts.
So now they can sacrifice at least the wolf if they want to.
They can increase the mana cost by quite a lot. That's Force of Will, pitching Constant Memory, which sounds very reasonable. And here is Dismember from Eetu.
Yeah, and now we have the Veil of Summer. First the
Oof.
Nadu trigger and then the Veil of Summer to
Beautiful.
seal the deal.
It went about as Tuomas could have planned, if there's no other better way to say it.
Yes, and the end step Brainstorm hitting the. I believe that's a Sylvan Safekeeper.
It pretty much feels like Tuomas is going off
Yeah,
this turn
no,
if he
it's
wants to.
just going through the. Oh, it says Greens and Senate. Yeah.
Yeah, Crimson Zenith doesn't get any of the. It does get Sylvan Safekeeper. Then I have to figure out how does he want
Yeah,
to
but
try to do
it's
it.
something you might sideboard out, so maybe
Hmm.
because he was snap casting it and then took a peek at his sideboard, so could be the case that it is not in the deck, and I'm just thinking what other options are there. I believe Eetu goes to 1 and now there's a Zenith for 1. Let's see what it gets. I believe it won't be the safekeeper.
Presume so for sure. On his list, Safekeeper is the only 1-mana card that would make sense, and that
Actually,
it hits the table.
I believe there was an Ethan line getting a Noble Hierarch for the Exalted trigger.
Ooh,
That
that is actually very true. There is the one of Noble Hierarch on the list as well.
But I'm sure the Safekeeper will also do the job with
Yeah.
having 5 sources of protection for the wolf.
And looks like Eetu scoops it up at this point of the game. So the game round goes 2-1 for Tuomas Myllykoski. Congratulations for Tuomas. We will be having a short break here for a moment. We will check if our backup feature match is still going, and we will be coming right back to you.
Yes, see you soon.
And here we are back again. With me here, we have now Tuomas Myllykoski from the last round.
Hi everybody.
So Tuomas, you won the match. How do you feel?
Well, of course, winning at Magic is great. My deck feels super solid. I'm currently undefeated on paper. As I say that, I probably lose the next round, but hey, the deck feels really good. And going into the matchup, I really didn't know what I was facing. And the first things that my opponent played, I was like, okay, what's going on? But when the coveted jewels started landing, I was, okay, well, I guess this is a deck I haven't seen before. Then I saw the Paradox engine and I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, the first game especially looked a little bit out of control for sure, but when you turned it around very well.
It was really close in the first game as well. If my third land had been an untapped land, I had the Survey land in my hand. If I had the third land drop come in untapped, I could have just played uncounterable Nadu and then go play my Nomad. And the plan there is you have 3 creatures, you draw 6 cards, and what you want to find is a land and a prismatic ending. And now you can remove the Vexing Bauble, and then you draw 6 cards more. In your opponent's turn, now you have Force of Will, and they can't win.
That sounds almost disgusting, but that's why Nadu is such a powerful deck. Let's look at some key cards from the deck that we know. So Nadu is a little bit different compared to the modern version, which is perhaps a little bit more famous overall.
Yeah, you could say that.
So
infamous, even.
Infamous. That is the excellent word for that. So how does the deck actually differ?
Well, in Modern, I didn't actually ever play Modern during that time, but in Modern you had the Shuko combo. So instead of Nomads, which you don't have, you have Shuko, and then you're an Urza Saga deck. You have to get your Shuko somehow. Stoneforge Mystic is also very good for that. It's a Court of Calling deck, because Green Sun Zenith is banned, but in Legacy you have Nomads in core, which is just the 1-mana enabler for Nadu, and then Green Sun Zenith can fetch, as you saw in the games, it can fetch Collector U, for example. It can also fetch Graveyard Hate, it can get Sylvan Safekeeper, all of these cards which are great in certain situations. And, well, it gets Nadu, so that's pretty nice as well.
It sure does do that. I think the most interesting card in the deck for sure is Nomad's Encore, which enables you to do all the combos during your opponent's turn as well, which gives you all the extra cards. But it's not everything that the Nadu deck is in Legacy. It also has plenty of control elements there as well.
Yeah, you have Teferi, and you have Force of Will and Swords to Plowshares. There are a lot of different versions of the deck. You can play without Swords to Plowshares, but that you have to be very courageous to do that. You can also play without Force of Will and instead play Daze, which I don't find really reasonable, but you can do that. But the main idea is to just assemble your A+B combo and then draw enough cards so that your opponent can never come back. And how you actually win with the deck, if your opponent wants to see you draw like 10 cards a turn, then you can show them, here's Bristly Bill, for example. And Bill allows you to put almost infinite counters on your creatures. Some decks run Endurance to actually go infinite, but I can say here that I don't.
Yeah, overall, as you said, you go for the point where opponent cannot return back to the game, whereas in Modern it was always about going off and killing your opponent.
Yeah.
Which does make the deck quite more resilient, I would say, in Legacy. Because you don't have to focus so much on the one plan within the deck.
Yeah, and on Magic Online, where I practice, you actually can't play the decks that you play on paper in Modern. The Modern deck could take 40 minutes to finish a turn, because there was a loop with Endurance and Sylvan Safekeeper and Nadu, where you just replay all your lands, get infinite mana, shuffle them back into your deck, and this sort of nonsense might take a lot of time. But with the chess clock on Magic Online, you can't play that. So you have to play something which is actually quite straightforward. This is not an infinite combo deck that I'm playing, but as soon as you assemble the combo, it's very difficult for your opponent to win.
That is very much true. You are now 3-0 on the event.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah. How are you feeling about going perhaps undefeated all the way to the event? How do you feel? Or are you going game by game? What is your plan for the day?
I'm just trying to focus on the game. Next we have a dinner break, or lunch break actually. So I'm gonna go get some lunch and just try to reset for the next game, because it actually isn't. I haven't done anything yet, and I could easily go 3-3 and never make top 8. But the dream is, of course, to go 5-0-2 or something like that. So let's keep up the good games and good draws as well.
All right. Thanks for the interview, Tuomas.
Yeah, thanks to you. And I want to say here to everyone watching, it's very nice of you to join us. And it's great to have people watching Legacy. And also thanks to our sponsors. We have Jebin Consulting and SaveFile, a restaurant here in Tampere. I have to mention them, of course. And thanks for following Team Kettu. And there are a lot of big things coming from Team Kettu during next year, so stay tuned. Finnish Legacy Nationals is just one part of our tournament series.
Absolutely, there's lots and lots of things coming next year, not including pre-modern championships for Europe.
The pre-modern European Championships
it's
on
gonna
the
be great.
6th of September, if I remember correctly.
I think that is the correct date, yes. It's going to be an interesting year next year. But for now, we will be focusing on the Legacy content.
Yeah, let's do that.
We will, as Tuomas already said, we will have a lunch break here, which will last a little bit longer. We will try to have some interviews here in between, but we will give you guys a little bit more information once we actually know what time the round ends and we have the lunch break. Thank you for watching. We will be back soon enough.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Finnish Legacy Nationals of 2024. Once again, I am Antto Kaipanen, and this time with me we have Nalle Saleva. How are you doing?
Thanks, I'm doing just fine. I just finished 2 great rounds of Legacy with not that big of a success, let's say. There were some issues. But now I'm here. It's been a while since I've been in the booth for this sort of event, but I think it was in 2019 or something. 2018.
I recall so. We were talking back then quite a lot.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But it has been a few years. But since I'm here and I started feeling a bit nostalgic, I thought, why not go through a few of our previous winners from these events that we've had.
Absolutely. Finland has a very long history of playing Legacy at historic events and whatnot. We have the current Legacy Nationals hosted by Team Kettu. We have multiple different Legacy Championships, Legacy Nationals during times. Let's see if we will be cutting to them shortly so we can have the link.
Yeah.
But for the last 5 years, no, 6 years this year.
Yeah, 6, correct. Yes.
Legacy Nationals have been hosted by Team Kettu at Tampere.
Yeah.
No, the first time it was hosted by Sense's Divine Shop.
Oh yeah, with Team Kettu, or the first 2 rounds actually, because before that there were only these. It wasn't nationals. It was champs or whatever it was before that. Yeah, and as these few events went quite well, they had big plans for the next event. I think it was in 2020.
Yes.
But then there was a slight issue.
Yeah.
A very slight issue. And with that, everybody was a bit sick and couldn't really attend.
Beats them up with the good old 8 cast. This year he's going with Eldrazi, which is still very much his kind of deck.
Yes.
He has been playing with Stompies quite a lot.
Yes,
over the years.
absolutely. And when we think about Juhis, as we call him, that's sort of his MO, let's say, because I can't remember a time when I saw him playing anything else than, well, let's say 8 cast isn't exactly a colorless deck, but still it's close. Let's say in a way it's close with all the artifacts, synergies and such. And now with the Eldrazi, he's continuing the trend.
Absolutely. I remember he used to play robots back when it was the legacy deck of choice.
Yeah.
And all the different variations of those kind of decks he has been playing. He's been playing Red Stompies, he's been playing Demon Stompy even one time, I remember. He doesn't repeat that quite often, but he has done that. But I know that on Modo he does try multiple different kind of strategies as well. All controls, all delvers, he's been going through all of them.
Yeah.
Every year he prepares quite well for these terms especially. And I am very glad to see him here year after year.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he's a local.
Yep.
So it's likely that we'll see him in the future as well.
Excellent. Just what I was thinking about. We get the past desk list here once again. So other people, Mikael Heikenheimo, actually this time he's helping out with the stream this time. He won 2019 with Jeskai Mentor. I remember that game as I was hosting it as well. It was a beautiful match which didn't last as long as we were all afraid of.
That is correct. Mikael does tend to have some quite long games. But I want to redeem myself a bit. I might have been 0-2 today when I dropped. On this very occasion, when Mikael won, I was undefeated on Swiss.
I remember that.
Yes. Unfortunately, my journey ended way before I got the chance to defeat Mikael for the win. But that's life. That's life.
Other more known players that we have on the past winner list, Lauri Törström, still very much, he's playing tons of Magic on RCQs, RCs, whatnot.
Yeah.
Very much seen on Moto events, whatnot.
By the way, did you know I was the one that introduced Lauri to Magic?
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yes. It is all me. It was, I think, Dragon Hit Point, another event here in Tampere, way back in perhaps 2014.
That sounds about right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember him being really keen young man back then. Naturally, Lauri is quite young still. Then he sort of started taking it seriously, and here we are after many years. He just came back, I believe, from some big event that he didn't qualify from, but was quite. He got some money at least from it.
That sounds very likely. He is always going somewhere playing games.
Yes.
Even during tournaments, he will have everything else happening.
Yeah.
We will now cut for 1 minute. We will have our fourth round coming up very soon. And we do hope that you guys stay here for the next round.
Yeah. See you soon.